80 foot of steel and holds a hard and hardy crew. Stacked with pots and boys, we got a lot of work to do. Let the gale blow to hell, it's all the same to me. I love my job, I love this boat, I love the salty sea.
October 22nd, 2013. Whew. It's been some years, but we're here. Lance Barber's with me. Now, is it Lance or Lawrence, or your name is spelled a bit differently?
Lance. It's an old family name.
It's an old family name. Okay, so I want to make sure I had it pronounced right.
You got it.
But SV Morning Dove is in the water, and new rigging, and sails are up. The electronics are installed, and we're gonna launch 7 a.m. tomorrow morning and sail this puppy. This is it. All these years, and we're down to it. We got the new Ray Marine radar. Shows us on the Rappahannock at Yankee Point Marina. And we're going to have another glass of wine and see what happens. Well, this is what it's all about. It's the 23rd of October, 2013. Morning Dove is just starting to stretch her legs just ever so slightly. We're coming out the Rappahannock River into the Chesapeake Bay. This is my first time sailing Morning Dove since we purchased her and put her in storage in the spring. And a lot of work and a lot of time and too much money. And this is it. We've got 9 knots of wind on a beam reach, and we're doing a boat speed of 5 knots, and we're cruising along. With me is Lance Barber at the helm. It's about 9 in the morning, and I'm just getting ready to fix some breakfast. But so far this boat is just sailing just joyously. It is quite a pleasure. And we'll scan around, but here we are. We're headed southeast and just went under one of the bridges. Beats me which one it is, but it's a bridge. And we're headed out to Chesapeake Bay. Beautiful day. A little overcast and windy today, and it's supposed to be sunny tomorrow. There's the AIS alarm. It's supposed to be nice and sunny tomorrow, so we're going to go out, sail all day today and out into the Atlantic, and then we'll head her back in before dark and anchor up for the night, and then we'll probably have to motor back to Yankee Point tomorrow because it'll be into the wind mostly, but we might try to sail a little bit. Okay, wind's picked up. Now we're up to just 6.5 knots. Perfect. And she is just, the motion is good, the sails are doing good. Now we pulled out of Yankee Point Marina about 7:30 this morning. Got out around the corner and immediately got into 20 knots of wind. Or actually we got in about 10-12 knots of wind, and we put all the sail up, and then all of a sudden it just started screaming. We shortened sail down to about half, and we're still doing 7.5 knots, you know, on a beam reach, and it was kind of crazy. Not crazy. It was boisterous sailing for a little while, and we turned kind of southeast down the Chesapeake, and we were just kind of almost about a 190 dead downwind on a run, doing 5 knots. The wind's dropped off to about maybe 15, 13, and we're running wing and wing. The boat's performing beautifully. The new Ray Marine chart plotter is working great, and the AIS is showing us traffic. We checked the indexing on the radar, and the radar's tracking beautifully, so everything is working the way it should. We've got one whisker pull out, holding the Jenniker out. And I got a preventer on the main. We're wing and wing, heading direct downwind. We got about 15 knots on the stern. and we got all the sail up. Looks pretty nice. Well, we got out almost to the entrance to the Chesapeake. Kind of did some tacking and change of sails and practiced with the whisker pole and setting some lines, and kind of ate up some time. We had some pretty rolly conditions, so we picked a point of sail that was more comfortable. So it would have been about 8 hours out to the entrance, so we went out about 8 hours. We're still about an hour and a half short. But with the wind conditions and such, you know, it's pretty much open ocean conditions. It's a huge area here. We achieved what we wanted to achieve. Got to play with the sails, got to play with the boat, and it's performing real well. 6:30, sun's gone down just a few minutes ago. We're headed around to the west side of the outlet of the Chesapeake into a protected bay, and we'll anchor up there for the night. But all in all, it's pretty good. There it is. We're motoring now. Wind's pretty much died down, and we're headed directly into the wind. So, you know, a lot of sailing is 2/3 motoring and 1/3 sailing, and we're taking part of the 2/3 now. Sound of the waves. October 24th, 2013. It's about 9 in the morning. Just left our anchorage in Jack Bay here on the Chesapeake. And we're going to head her back north up the Chesapeake and a left turn up the Rappahannock and back to Yankee Point Marina. It has been an outstanding sail and a shakedown cruise for Morning Dove. And we got sails up. We're kind of in a broad reach. A couple of the tattletales are a little stalled. I'm gonna have to have Leslie show me the art of trimming sails when she comes with me in January 1st. Okay, well, we got the Jenniker pulled out. We're going to be making a left turn, running direct downwind, so we'll go wing and wing on a downwind run. There it is. The new radar worked perfectly. And there's the VML insignia on the sails, a little flapping, need a little sail trim. There's Lance chilling out. But here we are, second day of sailing Morning Dove, and a good shakedown sail to see what issues there are and make sure everything's working and functioning correctly. Still have a bunch of old lines to replace, but for the most part she's pretty good. More later. Well, there's the chart plotter showing our position as we're heading northeast of the Chesapeake Bay. Gonna make a left turn to the Rappahannock in an hour or so.
Southbound freighter up to point, southbound freighter up to point.
Well, last night we sailed south along the Chesapeake and didn't quite get in where we wanted to before it got dark, so the last hour was pitch black, no moon up. Sailed into Jack Bay, up into the bay where it was protected and anchored up for the night. So it was pretty nice, and headed out. Now we're northbound on the Chesapeake, kind of northeast bound. Headed up into the Rappahannock. In an hour or so we'll make a left turn towards Yankee Point Marina. But it's been gorgeous.
WAQ 615 Virginia Pilot calling to YM Mark.
You got anything to add there, Lance? Lance from Richmond's joined me.
Bruce, thanks for the good weather today, and I don't thank you for the bad weather yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Channel 1 please.
Yeah, I hear you. Day of sailing, it's Thursday, and a lot of sailboats out in the water today. I mean, we've all counted about 10 sailboats, which for a weekday, you know, this is definitely a sailing community if you're seeing these many boats out on a weekday, and here it is October, so there's not what you call warm sailing weather either. But it's nice today. We got, all right, wind's been anywhere from 10 to 17. We got kind of a, we're just a little aft of the beam reach. We got 14 knots of wind, and we're doing 6 knots on the water, so you can't beat that. It's just a nice day for sailing. SV Morning Dove. It's October 25th, 2013. We're back at Yankee Point Marina after a day and a half shakedown cruise with the 46-foot catch, and we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. We left yesterday morning. I think we pulled away from the slip at about 7:30, just at first light. Headed out to the Rappahannock and turned to the southeast and started picking up wind and put out all the sails, and we were making, you know, 6, 7 knots and broad reach, and it was great sailing. Crossed under the Rappahannock Bridge, and the wind picked up to like 25 knots, and we were heeled over and getting towards 8 knots, and it just was too much, and we started pulling some sail in and started getting some rolly conditions. But you know, even the Chesapeake, it's not a small piece of water, it's a big piece of water, and the wind could whip things up, but we had a good time. We pretty much kept on a beam reach and crossed to the east side, and then kind of went down and changed a few sails and made a few tacks, and, you know, worked things out with the boat. It hasn't this is the first time I've had it out, and so I'm learning the boat. Lance Barber came with me, and he was a great help. He's been battling a cold, and he was kind of half under the weather. He got a little bit of mal de mer, but he powered through it, and he did great. I did a lot of single-handed tack changes, which is really reinforcing, because this airplane, yeah, you're talking to an old pilot. This boat is set up to single-hand, and I can single-hand this boat very, very nicely. I was really pleased. It's very manageable. The way it's set up for the sails and the preventers, it's really a doable thing. So it was a lot of fun. Made a few mistakes, but, you know, that's the learning process, is making mistakes and learning from them. We ended up, it should be about an 8, maybe a 10-hour run out to the Atlantic. After about 8 hours, we were still about 3 hours short, but we had done a lot of changing of sails and playing around, so that was to be expected. Plus, we kind of really reduced sail to reduce the stress on the rig. I mean, it was blowing pretty good, so, you know, that's just a wise decision on our part. We were over at the southeast end of the Chesapeake on the east side, you know, and then decided to cross over to Mobjack Bay. You know, we've got an 8-foot draft, so we're very limited on where we can anchor up. Everything's so bloody shallow here, it's crazy. So we went into Mobjack Bay, got in there about an hour after dark, so it was pretty dark, but geez, the beauty of these Ray Marine plotters, I mean, it's like being IFR as a pilot. Most of my life has been in instruments, and so having a chart plotter where I can pull down and I can navigate in the AIS, in the radar for safety, geez, the enhancements in this boat are just, it's just beautiful. But we pulled up into Mobjack Bay and found you know, kind of a quiet area where we wouldn't disturb anybody, and with the chart plotter I could pull up into like 10 feet of water, which gave me 2 feet under the keel, and just feather back and just plop the anchor down, let out 30 feet of chain, and we were in kind of a protected area, so we didn't even try to set anything. It's just mud, and the anchor just held us all night, and it blew about maybe 7 or 8, 10 knots, and God, it was just great. So we weighed anchor this morning and pulled a bunch of mud up, cleaned it off best we could. We had a great sail out in Chesapeake Bay and then turned northeast up the Chesapeake. And we pretty much had a, kind of a, not a really a close reach, but a little forward of the beam reach up the Chesapeake until we closed to the Rappahannock, and then we turned kind of northwest and started the Orange Jenny and headed back to Yankee Point. But all in all, for a shakedown cruise, wow, it was a great performing boat. On a beam reach with 13 knots, I'm 6 knots of boat speed. Downwind, wing and wing with 17, 18 knots, I'm 6, 7 knots of boat speed. I mean, geez, it seems to be a marvelous performer. Everything worked great. Got an issue with the S-bar, yeah, the heater. A little cold this morning, and that thing wouldn't start, but we'll deal with that. And the Panda genset has been finicky, but we'll deal with that. But boy, if that's the least of my problems heading to the tropics, we got a happy camper. But the shakedown cruise for Morning Dove was extremely successful. We had a good time. We'll put her up for the next 3 weeks. Like I said, it's October 24th, I think, maybe 25th. I'm going to leave on the 25th. It's October 24th in the evening now. If all goes well, November 15th, we'll launch out of here with Sam Maxwell and Peter Gillis. And we'll do about a 6-7 days to Bermuda and put the boat up in Bermuda till after the holidays. And then Lance Barber and Leslie Washburn and I will take it down to St. Thomas. And then, that's going to be, those 2 legs are going to be the real greening period for Morning Dove and make sure everything works. Once we get down to the Bahamas, once we get down to the Caribbean, it's all gentleman sailing. So it's pretty easy after that. But this is the blog update of Morning Dove after her launch with me as the new owner, after being fully re-rigged and outfitted and ready to go. I will make a point that we did log on with the SSB ham network, the Maritime Mobile Network. I've got a KL7 Romeo Kilo is my ham call sign, general class, and these people are going to be instrumental in providing my safety net and monitoring my progress at sea. I'm not carrying a sat phone. There's no reason to, because we've got great communication in the ham network, so we'll utilize the ham network. So I head back to Alaska, and I'll do some blog updates with text, and then probably the next video update will be maybe as we get ready to go to Bermuda, but certainly when we get to Bermuda. So stay tuned. SV Morning Dove travels on.
80 foot of steel and holds a hard and hardy crew. Stacked with pots and boys, we got a lot of work to do. Let the gale blow to hell, it's all the same to me. I love my job, I love this boat, I love the salty sea. Been 3 long days upon the waves to the Bering Sea we're bound. We'll do our best, there'll be no rest till we leave these fishing grounds. Let the gale blow to hell, it's all the same to me. I love my job, I love this boat, I love the salty sea.